the Eldar Sim racing minis. This is the Decals Lab Mini 7's, brought to you by, obviously, like I said, Eldar Sim Racing. I do apologise, we had technical difficulties, so we've just come back online. So basically we've got a 8-minute qualification. As I said before, this is due to one of the guys that most of the guys have raced against or competed against. Stewie had passed away with, unfortunately, cancer mid-week. So if Stewie's family are watching this, massive, deeply condolence to you guys. Like I say, I'm your host for this evening, Hoppers. So hopefully we are in for a good night's racing, and we are here for at Maggiore, the Lake Maggiore circuit, for rounds 9 and 10 of the Eldar Sim, brought to you by Decals Lab Mini 7's. I believe we are expecting potentially a decent grid. I don't know where James Stevens disappeared to. I don't know whether he's jumped out the lobby or not, but it says he's here. It is looking likely that we are a bit behind for qualifying at the moment, but I do apologise, guys, if you're having a bit of issues. Bluefin Jason Grant is struggling to get into the lobby at the moment, so hopefully, if we, I think we're to potentially 10 drivers this evening entering, so it is kind of like we were last week at Sardinia. So hopefully tonight, like I say, I've gone through the points in the previous stream, so you may have to check that out before potentially the internet had cut itself out. I feel a bit disappointed because we wasn't expecting it to do. So we are running a bit behind because of technically my technical difficulties, and also Bluefin, aka Jason Grant, is unable to get into the lobby at the moment. So they're just out on their practice laps at the moment, as we see Stealth Racer and of course the Pineapple Head, aka Tom Holland, are having a bit of a battle galore. So as you can see, we are a bit delayed at the moment. So James Stephen, who's kindly offered, because of my internet connection issues, he's I believe we might be struggling with the connection issues as well. So this could be so yeah, we're a bit I think we're having a bit of issues at the moment with people trying to join the lobby, as we are technically I don't know why we're down to 9 at the moment. We're down to potentially 9 people. I don't know whether who's dropped out at the moment, as we see low frequency. It's got a 5/10 penalty, so we are due. So there's James, Ben, John Riley, Pineapple Head, Mark Palmer, Joey Smiles, Ginger Baxter, Stealth Racer, and I believe Max Robertson isn't back at the moment. So it's looking likely, but as I see, I've messed something up here. So bear with me, guys. I believe Max isn't in the lobby either, so we are potentially struggling. We are struggling at the moment. As we see, James is potentially trying to sort it out, but we are potentially running 5 minutes behind at the moment, guys. So just please bear with why we are trying to sort out potentially a few technical difficulties. I don't know whether that's because PSN as in the PlayStation Network format is playing up or what, but we are running behind at the moment within a couple of drivers that are not been able to make it, as we see Ben Smith and of course John Riley have got 3-second penalties. I don't know whether this is because of the practice at the moment, but it doesn't really matter because it is still practice at the moment. So we are going to potentially, I don't know whether we are struggling for issues at the moment as we Right, so if you're watching the stream, guys, please back out because we are suffering difficulties. I don't know whether we are having technical difficulties galore at the minute. James Stephen is suffering to add people into the lobby. So I think what we'll do, guys, is if you are watching the stream at the moment, guys, is back out and I'll set one up, but we shall see what is going on in a moment or two, as Bluefin has just joined the lobby. As I'm just gonna quickly excuse me, as I just bear with 2 ticks. I'm gonna try and potentially set up another lobby, as we are struggling potentially to get underway at the moment. So yeah, this is what we are struggling to face with at the moment. So hopefully we should be getting up and running for the Decals Lab Mini 7's. I do apologise for any delays, guys. We are potentially so I don't know whether we are struggling for connection or what. we are potentially behind 9 minutes behind schedule at the moment, so I'm trying to get everyone in and potentially get everyone sorted. We don't need this. It is a bit unfortunate for potentially obviously with the mini 7's brought to you by Decals Lab, we are struggling at the moment, so I may potentially still have to do don't know whether it's issues with the stream or what, but we are having potentially issues at the moment. As we see, John Riley has jumped in. I don't know how long we're going to be because we are seriously behind schedule at the moment. If it doesn't go to plan now, I may reduce the racing laps. So I may reduce the racing laps to 12 because we have got we've had a bit of an issue getting everyone ready. So hopefully there will be potentially, as I say, we're going to do it as 12 laps because we are behind. So if anyone's got any issues, guys, yeah, thank you guys. Yeah, so the guys have just told me about the tyres. Yeah. James, if you're not watching the stream, mate, we're doing it 12. So if everyone can get ready, if you're in the lobby, please get ready, please enter the track, and we'll get started for the 8-minute qualification. Obviously, like I say, we are behind on schedule, so if you don't mind entering the lobby. So we're going to have potentially a slow lap for Stewie. Obviously, like I say, we lost him to obviously cancer midweek, which is unfortunate. I didn't know the guy personally because I don't race against him, but some of the guys potentially did race against him. And we are going to do a one slow lap. So potentially, I don't know where Mark's gone, but so if you're watching the stream, guys, please let me know when you're ready. So I do apologise. I do apologise for the lateness of getting started. We've had a bit of technical issues. So we're hoping to join in as soon as possible. As Mark has joined. So hopefully it should be a good one. So just remember guys, if you're watching the stream, if you're in the minis, we will be doing you'll be doing a slow lap as you start your first flying lap. So hopefully we are good to go. We'll be good to go because we are technically behind schedule. So we'll be doing one slow lap, and then potentially after your slow laps we will be doing the flying laps. So yes, hopefully this should be good. Hopefully we have no issues as we get ready for qualifying for round number 9 of the Eldar Sim Decals Lab Mini 7's. As we see, Stealth Racer is potentially as we see, Max is the last to leave the pits, so we have got potentially a slow lap at the moment. So guys, if you're watching the stream, please take it nice and slow. This is to pay respects for Stewie. So as the guys are going round on their slow laps, I will observe a minute's silence. So yeah, I'll speak in a bit guys. Okay guys, so yeah, touching tribute there, so thank you guys for taking part in the minute silence. So they're just going to gear up ready for the flying laps. They're not going to really get going until the next lap. So thank you guys for much obliged, and massive respects, and rest in peace Stewie. You'll be deeply missed mate. So yep. So we have 5 minutes 30 on the clock as the guys are just heading around to start potentially their flying lap. So it will be potentially first of many. It is quite a short track around here at Legargo. Just ignore the times because they were on a slowing down lap. So they can now get going for their most important qualifying session of the evening. This is for round 9 of the Eldar Sim Decals Lab Mini 7's. So we are going to see who is going to start on pole position for round number 9 this evening. It is looking likely that the moment the benchmark king as I call him, James Stephen, is carrying on at the moment. So as I say, thanks to each and every one of you guys that have done the parade lap, so thank you, it was much appreciated here this evening, and hopefully we will race and do him proud. So we are looking forward to seeing what potentially is going to happen for the Eldar Sim, potentially the Eldar Sim Mini 7's. This is obviously brought to you by the Decals lab. James Stephen has done a 1 minute 2.7, and then Jason has done a 1 minute 2.9, I believe he did. James, see, time's coming in quick and fast now. Bluefin, yeah, Jason did a 1 minute 2.9. Ginger Baxter did a 1 minute 3.8, and then Pineapple Head did a 1 minute 3.2. So yeah, we've got 3 minutes 40 remaining. The guys, we, like I say, we are running behind schedule at the moment due to technical difficulties, but we are potentially looking forward to seeing what is going to happen for the Decals Lab Mini 7's live and exclusive on the Eldar Sim Racing YouTube channel. So yeah, we are potentially seeing what's going to happen for round number 9 of the series. As we see here, I believe it was Ginger Baxter potentially running wide, but hopefully the guys will pick up some speed now. I don't know how quick time's been, as Mark Palmer's done a 2 minute 9 and Ben Smith has done a 2 minute 8, and then Stealth Racer did a 1 minute 4. So they're in the 1 minute. Potentially John Riley's done a 1 minute 3.7, Max Robertson did a 1 minute 5.0. So, you know, these guys are potentially on the limit now, so they don't really have to worry about being slow or anything now. They can crack on at normal speed, and then we have 12 laps. It would have been 15, but due to technical difficulties getting started, we are underway a bit later than planned. So let's see what will happen potentially here for the Eldar Sim, the Eldar Sim Decals Lab Mini 7's, as we are approaching 2 minutes remaining on the clock for qualifying. As we see, the Pineapple did a 1 minute 3.0, so that's pushed him potentially, I think it's pushed him up to 5th place. Stealth Racer did a 1 minute 4.3. So, and BRC Robertson did 1 minute 4.8. So we are potentially 1 minute 34 away from starting round number 9. So it'll be a 12-lap race in both races this evening. Unfortunately, I will not have time to do driver interviews this week. Obviously, with the slight delay in getting the race, well, the lobby open. We've had a bit of issues. James Stephen was going to be hosting because I had internet issues, and then I believe he's had issues now, I think. Or is he just letting the guys go, or is it because he's on stream? But I don't know. As we see, with 52 minutes remaining on the clock, I don't think many people are improving their times. So I think we are in for potentially exciting race 1. So at the moment, championship leader Joey Smiles is in 7th place. James Stephen is on pole position with a 1 minute 2.7. So anything can happen at the moment with 20 seconds remaining on the clock. They're not going to get much time, because by the time, if they get to the finish line now, the flying laps will come to an end. So as we see, I'll go through the grid when I can, and when we get confirmed as qualifying now is complete for round number 9 of the Decals Lab Mini 7's. Brought to you by Eldar Sim Racing. These guys, we like I say, after tonight we have got 4 races left as Bluefin drops back a bit. I don't know whether he wants to showboat or not, but I don't think that's necessary. because even though he's ghosted, as we see, it does put people off as Joey Smiles improves and goes 6th with a 1 minute 3.1. So qualified is over for race number 1. James Stephen, the Scottish guy, the consistent guy, as we're going to call him, starts on pole position. So we have got James Stephen alongside Ben Smith, and then you've got Mark Palmer, then you've got Bluefin, then you've got Pineapple Head, Jerry Smiles, Love Frequency, John Riley, Ginger Baxter and Stealth Racer and BRC Robertson bringing up the rear. So we are getting ready for potentially start of the first of 12 laps this evening here at Midori, or Midori, I can't remember how you pronounce it, as we get ready now as the green light turns and James Stephen gets a start, bit of wheel spin, and Ben Smith, aka Bassox, is bringing up into second, but Mark Palmer is following him round. So we have got James Stephen, the consistent king, going into turn number 1 as Ben Smith runs a bit wide going into turn number 1, and Mark Palmer is potentially up there with him in the Bradford sponsored and the Pineapple Head as Love Frequency, aka Love Mecca, goes off track. He's not a lawnmower because we are not here for lawnmower racing, as we see Mark Palmer and the Pineapple Head are latching onto obviously Ben Smith at the moment, as we see Joe Smiles has worked his way up into 5th place slowly but surely, and we see we'll try and see what we can do. This is not this is a very short track, as we see Tom Holland and Mark Palmer. As we see the Pineapple Head bounces into potentially second there. He caught a bit of the corner there as Mark falls into potentially 6th place now with Jerry Smiles and of course Jason Grant up into 4th and 5th respectively, and obviously Love Frequency is obviously got past, and John Riley and the Ginger Baxter, and of course Chris Craigie into 9th and 8th, 10th and 11th. 8th, 9th and 10th, sorry, and we see Chris make the move on the Ginger Baxter for 9th place here, and BRC Robertson is in 11th place so far, as we see Jerry is up into 4th. He needs to maintain, he needs Mark to do quite severely a bit of a disappointment, but as we go back to this battle between Ben Smith and the Pineapple Head, Tom has got to realise or latch on to Ben to try and get past, as James Stephen is eking out that gap into 1st place, as I believe Jerry Smiles and Bluefin are having a battle, as well as Love Frequency and of course Mark. Mark is potentially hopefully latching onto this group and seeing what he can do here. As we go into turn number 1, as Bluefin makes the move onto Jerry Smiles, but unfortunately clips the grass and knocks back in front of Love Frequency. But then you've got Mark Palmer and John Riley, the Bradford's car versus the Decals lab, and also versus the D-Wars, but Mark is going backwards in this race at the moment, as we see Stealth Racer and the Ginger Baxter, as Tom has got a 5/10 for penalty. But if we go on board with, potentially we'll try and go on board with Jason Grant here, chasing down Jerry Dobbin at the moment, tries to make the move into the final turn, which he does, but he's obviously tried to learn, but Tom's taken his penalty, which unfortunately has held him up a bit, which is costing Tom time. But you see that Jerry is potentially making a move for 3rd place, and you see that Love Frequency, they're trying to make it 3 wide into turn number 1, maybe 4, maybe 5. Who's going to get the guts here? As we see Love Frequency has gone off there on track. He rejoins ahead or behind this group of cars, as Jerry is up into 3rd, followed by Jason Grant in the CWS car. Jerry needs to have good results here at the moment, as we see Tom and Mark are having a bit of a battle, the door-to-door battle, as we keep raging on about how well this is going, as we see John and Love Frequency, aka Love Mecca, have a bit of a battle we'll try and follow battles as we can, guys, as Bluefin is trying to make a move on Jerry for potentially 3rd place, which has pushed Jerry into 4th. We see that Ben Smith is eats out the gap as James Stevens done a 1 minute 2.5, so it's a 1 minute 2.5 flat as Jerry makes a move into turn number 1, potentially trying to gain back onto Jason here as Tom makes the move potentially into 4th, potentially into 3rd if we carry on. We'll watch this battle as they eke their way into turn number 2. This is kind of a bit of a challenge. Jerry has now dropped back into 5th place. He doesn't want that because his arch enemy and his championship rival Mark Palmer is behind him at the moment. But as we see, the Pineapple Head and obviously Bluefin are making a move, but Jerry tries to make the move. Is he going to make it stick? Is he going to make it 3 wide? No, he isn't, as the Pineapple Head and of course Bluefin are potentially battling it out for 3rd and 4th, but Jerry's coming on the inside as Mark goes past them both, waves goodbye to Jerry. Jerry needs to realise that, you know, he needs to push on because Mark has got in front into 4th place at the moment. He's going to make it into 3rd into turn number 1. Are we going to have 4 wide? Are we going to have 2 wide? We will see what goes on here as we see that Mark knows for a fact him and Jerry are fighting it out for the title at the moment, but James is miles ahead as we are on lap number 6 out of 12 at the moment. So this is potentially pushing on for a bit. Jerry is struggling, but Mark is now dropped back into 6th place. I don't know what's really been going on because the battle galore everywhere, but we see John Riley and of course Love Mecca still have a bit of a battle themselves as well behind. So John and obviously Love Frequency, the number 80 car versus the 33, the D-Wars versus the Decals Lab, as we see Mark Palmer is in 6th place, Jerry is up into 4th with Bluefin behind him. Well, Jerry needs to keep Bluefin or at least get past Tom Holland as he gets it crossed up into turn number 1 there. So Jerry has lost out somehow, which has dropped him back into 10th place. I'll see if we can see what potentially, I don't know what happened here. I think we've caught the end of that. Yeah, I do apologise, we did catch the end of that. I think Jerry pushed too hard. I will see what they say afterwards as we see John Riley in the 80 car, potentially the Scotsman versus the American, and of course Mark Palmer here pushing on potentially up into 5th place, but this is not what we want. Mark is in 5th place whereas Jerry is down in 10th place at the moment. Jerry doesn't need this. Jerry needs to push on as the championship table will probably turn its heads as we are on lap number 7 out of 12 at the moment, as we go into potentially as Love Mecca cuts the corner a bit and tries to dive into John's door there, the driver's side door, but luckily Love knows how to back out of that. As we'll go back to this battle between Bluefin and Mark Palmer, is obviously Jason is flashing his lights trying to distract Mark, but flashing light isn't really going to work, mate, unless you know how to get the move done. As we get potentially Mark and Bluefin are battling it out, but we see this battle as Mark drops down into potentially 4th place. Is it 5th? Yeah, no, he goes back into 4th. As we see John is up into 6th. John Riley is into 6th place here, and we see Jason is all over the back of basically Mark Palmer for potentially 4th place, and John and Love Mecca battling it out for 6th and 7th at the moment. The American versus the Scotsman at the moment. You know, they're waving at each other as they go by, but we'll see what happens here as Love makes the move into 6th place, but John is coming back at him like a huntsman that he's wanting to hunt down his enemy or his predator, as we see Mark and potentially Bluefin are still battling it out for 5th and 4th, as we see Love Mecca has got a 5/10 for a penalty at the moment, as we are on lap number, I believe we are on lap, yeah, we're on lap number 10, so there's 2 more laps to go in the first race of the Eldar Sim Minis, brought to you by the Decals Lab at the moment. So we've got James Stephen eking out his lap, and we've got Ben Smith, and then you've got Pineapple Head, and of course Bluefin and Mark Palmer, and then you've got John Riley and Ginger Baxter. I believe Love Mecca took his penalty, which cost him a bit of time there. And then obviously Jerry Smiles is up into 9th, then you've got Stealth Racer, them 2 best mates, and then you've got BRC Robertson in the Shell Lawman Bat Mini in 11th at the moment, as we will go back to potentially the battle between Bluefin and Mark Palmer. If anything happens, if anything comes to tears, it may latch John Riley onto them, potentially for John's sort of best result of the season, I believe, as we see we've got a lap to go, so we're on the penultimate lap now of race number 1, so round number 9 of the Decals Lab Mini 7's at the moment, from Magione, as Jason defends into turn number 1. I don't think Jerry's going to be too happy with the result, the way things are going at the moment for race number 1, as we see that James Stephen is potentially pushing on for his potentially 4th race, no, it's his 5th race victory of the season. Then you've got Ben Smith, then you've got Tom Holland, but then you've got this battle between Bluefin and Mark Palmer, but then you've got John Riley battling at the back of them as well. Then you've got Love Frequency and of course Ginger Baxter, but then you've also got Jerry Smiles and Stealth Racer, and then you've got potentially Max Robertson coming up at the rear. So Jerry needs to push on. Jerry needs to get a decent result in race number 2 as we go on to the final lap now, as we see Bluefin and Mark and potentially John Riley jump into this battle as we join them, as John is trying to make a move into potentially 5th or 4th place. He may get it, he may do really well here, as we see this is what the Mini 7's are all about. Fortunately James Stephen, the runaway leader of the race, is miles up ahead. He's about to take another victory here at Magione for round number 9 of the Decals Lab Mini 7's, brought to you by Eldar Sim. The guy on the starting gantry gets checkered flag ready, and James is about to take another well-deserved victory, so congratulations James, takes home the victory he will take, and Ben comes home in 2nd place. Ben flashes the lights, he's happy with that, as the Pineapple Head aka Tom Holland comes home in potentially 3rd place. Who's going to take 4th? Who's going to take 5th? As we see Bluefin and John Riley takes 5th ahead of Mark Palmer here, and then Love Frequency and the Ginger Baxter comes home in 8th, and then you've got Jerry Smiles in 9th, and then you've got Stealth Racer in 10th, and then you've got Max Robinson in 11th place. So congratulations to James Stevens, started off in pole position, he got the fastest lap and also in a clean race, and we will get going in about 5 minutes time, so I will just put that in the chat. So we have, the next race will be at 8:45, so we've got 5 minutes. So I'm just going to nip to the loo, guys, and we will be back in a second. Potentially So yeah, I'm gonna just nip to the loo and we'll sort out potentially what will happen for the round number 10. So it is round number 10. I believe the guys are wanting to increase the laps for round number 10, so it is looking likely so it is the rolling start, so we'll go for 15 laps. So I'll be back in a minute, guys, and we will be going live at 9:15 for round number 10 of the Decals Lab Mini 7s, brought to you by Eldar Racing. So I'll be back in a minute. Quick comfort break, grab a drink, guys, and we'll see you very shortly for round number 10 to see if Jerry can eke out a bigger gap. He had a bit of a nightmare in race 1, so we will see what goes on here. So I will be back in a second. So guys, we have got roughly 3 to 4 minutes before we get going for the Decals Lab Mini 7s. So yeah, just give me a second. There is a new link. So yeah, we have got round number 10 of Decals Lab Mini 7s. Round number 10 is now going to be 15 laps. It is the reverse grid of round number 9. So round number 9's results, so the reverse grid, guys, just before we head into round number 10. So it will be BRC Robertson that jumps into potentially pole position for round number 10. Then you got Stealth Racer, and then you've got Jerry Smiles. So Jerry has a bit of an advantage now over Mark going into potentially round number 10 of this series. And then you've got Ginger Baxter, then you've got Love Frequency, then you've got Mark, then you've got John Riley, who came home in 5th, which was quite good for John. John will be buzzing for that. Then you got Bluefin, then you got the Pineapple Head, then you got Ben Smith, and then you got, of course, James Stephen. And James Stephen did the fastest lap of the race with a 1 minute 2.500. So we are moments away, potentially starting round number 10. So it has been a bit, how can I put it, a bit exciting this evening for the Decals Lab. Jerry Smiles was down in 9th place for race 1. So we've got in a minute, hopefully race 2 will begin and we will get ready for round number 10 of the Decals Lab Mini 7s, brought to you by Eldar. As I say, guys, I do apologise, we were late starting. We had technical difficulties from my end, and then it had technical difficulties from James's end, and then we obviously had to pay respects for Stewie. So this is for Stewie, guys. I do apologise, that's race 2 now. If you're watching the stream, guys, we are about to start any moment. And best of luck, chaps, for round number 10 of the Decals Lab Mini 7s, brought to you by Eldar. So hopefully this is, like I say, this is the rolling start. It is the reverse of potentially, yeah, reverse of race number 9. So it's round number 9, as we see Max Robertson and Chris Craigie and Jerry Smiles and Ginger Baxter and Love Frequency and Mark Palmer and John Riley and Bluefin and Pineapple Head and of course Ben Smith and James Stephen, as we see Max is going to take the start for round number 10. So the revs are building and the guys are getting ready, as we see 5 lights are about to hit on the starting gantry as we get the green light now, as we get into the first corner for round number 10 of the Decals Lab Mini 7s, brought to you by Eldar Racing. And this is live and exclusive on the Eldar Racing YouTube channel, as Max goes into turn number 1 there, leading away. We'll see how well he does this race as Stealth Racer and Chris Craigie. But straight away, Jerry Smiles is pushing on potentially into second place there, as we are looking into a battle here between Jerry Smiles and of course Chris Craigie and Max Robertson. We'll go back to that battle any moment, but Mark is in 6th place at the moment, as we see John Riley and of course Bluefin and Tom Holland and of course James Stephen, and Ben Smith is at the back at the moment, which is unfortunate. We'll go back to the battle between Jerry Smiles and Max Robertson at the moment. Chris versus Max, and then you've obviously got Jay Baxter here battling for 3rd place. So there is battles galore, guys. We don't know where to look. So Jerry Smiles leads the first lap of the 15-lap race. We've lengthened the distance because of the guys were saying it wasn't long enough, but we have got here BRC Robertson into second, maybe into 3rd, and Mark is coming up into 4th place, as I believe Chris Craigie has dropped down into potentially 6th place, maybe 5th place, maybe 7th at the moment. So Stealth's not doing well at the moment in the Hoppers Motorsport Vlogs car, as the Pineapple Head is latching onto these guys as well at the moment, as we concentrate here, as we see Tom and Stealth there have a bit of a moment there, as we see we'll go back to the battle in a moment between these guys, as we see BRC Robertson and of course John Riley and of course Mark Palmer have this battle, as Jerry Smiles knows what to do now. He needs to get the power down, he needs to get the momentum. Is he going to do it? As we see John Riley and Mark Palmer have a bit of a battle. John goes offline there, which is unfortunate. He is okay. The Frequency and of course Mark Palmer are up into 5th and 4th place, as Max Robertson at the moment is holding on for dear life into 3rd place. But you got this gaggle of cars between Jason, John, James Stephen, Bassox and of course Chris Craigie and of course Tom Holland. So there is battles galore here, as we see that Max is losing places at the moment, which is not good, which is pushing him down. It's pushed him into 5th place. I believe Mark is up into 3rd, but any points that count at the moment, Ben Smith has got the fastest lap with a 1 minute 3.0. So this is absolutely mega stuff from these guys. This I can't look, because this battle here between all these guys, between Bluefin, The Frequency, John Riley, James Stephen, the Pineapple Head, BRC Robertson, and of course Max Robertson, Ben Smith, and of course Chris Craigie. This battle between these lot are gaggling it out, as we see that Mark is getting away from the Frequency. But these guys, the ones that are towards the back of the field, these guys are having battles galore, guys. Let's see what goes on here for the time being, as we will approach potentially the time of race 1 at the moment. But Jerry at the moment is eking out the lap. He's got the fastest lap of 1:03.021. So he's eking out the lap. As we see, Mark is he's trying to gain on Ginger Baxter, but Mark and the frequency are having a battle. But Luff goes offline. Where's he going to rejoin? James Stephen jumps, but Bluefin's also in the battle. So these guys between Bluefin, James Stephen, Mark Palmer, and of course the frequency and John Riley, and of course Ben Smith. These guys are having battles galore, guys. This is what we want to see, but this is what we are here for. So Max is having a bit of a battle with Stealth at the moment, but Jerry is out in front. Jerry needs to be out in front. Jerry needs to be out in front with this battle. He needs to crack on, as we see here. This is what we want, guys. This is what we need to see as we head into basically battles galore with these guys. This is how or what are we going to see. I don't understand how we're going to be launching into battles galore here. We will have to have a look into what we've got. As we got here, James Stephen is into 4th, followed by Bluefin, but Bluefin's up into 4th place at the moment, as we see Mark and of course Bluefin, and of course James Stephen, and of course Ben Smith and Pineapple Head and John Riley. These guys are having battles. We excuse me, we are on lap 6 out of 15 at the moment. We'll try and go on board if we can. We'll go on board with James for a little while, and Ginger Baxter has had a bit of an issue as we go on board with James into the final turn, chasing down I believe we're chasing down Mark Palmer at the moment. This is what we like to see here, and we will go potentially out of James Stephen drifts into turn 1 to get 3rd place from Mark Palmer, but Jerry is eking out that gap with these guys battling. So Jerry is miles up ahead in the road. He is still holding on to race lead. He wants this so badly. He wants it now because he struggled in race number 1. As we see, James Stephen is holding off Mark Palmer, and of course Bluefin and Ben Smith, aka Bassox, is getting up into this battle here as well. So anything can happen if these guys make a mistake. And John Riley makes a move onto Tom Holland, but Tom gives him a bit of a tap up the rear. So does the frequency, gives Tom a bit of a tap, but John's not having any of that as John fights back into potentially, I believe he's trying to battle for 8th place. I think that's what he's trying to do. But as we see, as we go on by here, we've got a bit of battle for 7th, 8th and 7th and 8th as Tom runs a bit wide and Love Frequency gets past. So in all that, while we're watching Tom go offline, Love Frequency gets past, and then we've got Mark up into potentially 4th place, and Bluefin is up into 5th, and then you got Ben Smith in 6th place there, battling it out as well. So these guys know what they're doing. Hopefully it should be battles galore soon. Hopefully. Oh, as Mark gets crossed up there into the last turn there, leaves the door open for Bluefin to get past, but then Mark gets past as well. But Ben is on a charge as well. We'll go on board with Ben as we go down the start-finish line, starting lap number 9 out of 15. So we've got quite a handful of laps still remaining in this race, as James Stephen now has done a 1 minute 2.7. He's getting a bit crossed up as well, as we see Mark and Ben, which is invited potentially Bluefin on the charge. We'll look back here from Ben for a minute, as we look back from, of course, Bluefin, the CWS car versus the Mintworks. We are seeing what goes on here. Mark has lost a handful of places as James has got up into 2nd place, while we're concentrating on this battle between Jason and Ben at the moment, as well as Mark, as well as Love Mecca. This is what we want to see, guys. This is getting towards the sharp end of the league now, the sharp end of the championship, as Ben gets into the back bumper of Jason at the moment. We are about to start lap number 10, so there is 5 laps, maybe 4 laps remaining of the round number 10 of the championship at the moment. So yes, we are waiting to see what is going to happen for the series here. So as Ben gets a bit crossed up there, and Love Frequency has been invited into 5th place, he's been invited into the party, so is John Riley. But what is this? Mark has lost places. He is in 9th at the moment. Oh dear, this is not what we want to see, with Mark potentially dropping down the table. This is unfortunate. We do not want this, guys. We do not want this. But this is not what we want at the moment. Are we looking forward to seeing what potentially goes on for the Eldar Sim minis at the moment? It is potentially, like I say, it is still a long way to go as we are heading towards potentially the last rounds of the championship. It is obviously going to be exclusive. This is obviously round number 10. We've got 2 more rounds after this, as we see John has dropped back into 10th place. Where did John go? Where did John go? But they've got Bluefin and Jason here battling, and Luffy's up into 4th place at the moment, and the Gingerbacks can escape this, but Jerry is out on his own, about to start lap number 12 out of 15 at the moment. Wow, this is what we want to see. What are we going to see here, guys? Are we going to see battles galore, or are we going to see each as their own into potentially the remaining rounds of the series? So as Jerry ekes out a gap, we've got a battle between Love Frequency as Love goes offline there, and Ben Smith battles away, and Love gets back onto the track into potentially 6th place there. And then we've got the Pineapple Head and Stealth Racer, and of course Mark. So 7th, 8th and 9th are having a battle, as well as 4, 5 and 6, as we are eking out the laps and counting down towards, I don't know where John's gone. I don't know if John's had issues or what, but John's disappeared, so it's looking likely that John Riley, the series admin, series coordinator, as Mark goes offline there into the final turn, which has cost him a bit of time there. So as we see that Jerry Smiles, aka Jerry Dobbin, is on to potentially the 4th lap, the second to last lap, so he's even nearly on the penultimate lap now, which is going to be excitingly good for Jerry. Jerry needs to have this lap potentially in the bag. He needs to have these races in the bag, because is it going to cost him time, or is it going to cost him an advantage in for the championship? As we see also James Stephen potentially eking out a lap for the Decals Lab Mini 7's. We are looking forward to potentially seeing what's going to happen here in a moment or two, as we are on the penultimate lap, as we got Bluevin of course, and of course Jason and Ben Smith here battling out for potentially battles galore here. I don't know how well it's going to be, but we will see what goes on and potentially what will happen for the penultimate, potentially the penultimate lap, as we see the battle between Bluefin and Ben at the moment, as Ben tries to get into Bluefin's boot, and we've got Love Frequency, and then we've got Pineapple Head, and Stealth Racer, and then Mark, and then got BRC Robertson, and we seem to have lost John Riley for bits of a bizarre reason. As Jerry now starts his final lap, he's got a bit of a gap ahead of James Stephen at the moment, going into the final lap of the race. And then you've got Ginger Baxter, aka Jay Baxter, coming home in third place. Then you've got Bluefin and Ben Smith battling it out at the moment for 5th and 4th. Then you've got Love Frequency and the Pineapple Head battling up for 6th and 7th. And then you've got Stealth Racer and Mark Palmer, but these guys have got a bit of a gap. And then you've got Max potentially coming home in 10th place. But then you've got, going back to this battle between Bluefin and Ben at the moment, having a bit of a battle here. So we are potentially hopefully seeing what next week brings as well, as we go on board. We'll go on board with Jerry Dobbin, aka Jerry Smiles. He takes the victory in round number 10. He will be happy, he will be delighted with that. He will be thinking, what am I going to have to do for the four remaining rounds, as James Stephen comes home in 2nd. Then you've got Ginger Baxter, and then you've got Ben Smith and the Pineapple Heads get past Bluefin, and then Love Frequency comes home in 7th. Then you've got Stealth Racer in 8th, and then you've got Mark Palmer 9th, and then you've got Max Robertson coming home in 10th place. So guys, what is going to happen next week at Autopolis? Are we going to be potentially seeing what will happen? Is it going to go down to the wire, or is the title going to be sewn up next week, guys? I am yet to see what will happen. So thank you guys for joining. We've got the classification of round number 10 of the Eldar Sim Decals Lab Mini 7's. I'll go through that very shortly, as we will potentially classify the final results. So we have got here the final results. We have Jerry Smiles, and then you've got James Stephen, and then you've got Ginger Baxter, Ben Smith, the Pineapple Head, Bluefin, Stealth Racer, not Stealth Racer, Love Frequency, Stealth Racer, Mark Palmer, BRC Robertson, and John Riley. Unfortunately, John did not finish, and then the fastest lap went to James Stephen again on lap number 10 with a 1 minute 2.5. So guys, what is going to happen next week at Autopolis? Let's see. I am looking forward to this. The championship is getting wider and wider and open. It is going to be so. Let's see what happens, guys. We are looking forward to potentially seeing what is going to happen, and I believe there's been a bit of issues this evening, which isn't what we expect, but I believe the championship is going to be wide open next week. We are at, as I say, Autopolis in Japan for the penultimate rounds of the Eldar Sim Racing Mini 7's, the Decals Lab. So I will see you guys next week. I've been your host for this evening, Hoppers, as per usual, and I'll see you guys next Friday for potentially what is going to be an exciting 2 rounds for the penultimate rounds of the Eldar Sim Racing Mini 7's, and hopefully it is good as anything. But I will see you guys very soon, and I'll speak to you in a bit. Ta-ra.